Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Wednesday, May the 27th, 2026. It's around 5:57 p.m. The reason I'm making this show is I want to congratulate the Knicks on making it to the NBA Finals in the fashion that they made it to the NBA Finals. Um, I'm a Nets fan. Everyone knows that. Anyone who knows me knows that. I'm a Nets fan. But you got to give the devil its due. Hey, see, the Knicks and the Rangers are the two teams when they're good, it captivates the city because they're the major sports team in the city. The Nets, my Nets, they don't, our fan base is really small. Okay, I'm an Islanders fan too. So the Islanders won four Stanley Cups in the '80s, but no one would know that if you don't follow hockey. They only talk about the '94 Rangers. Hell, even the New Jersey Devils won some cups recently, but nobody cares. In New York, um, the Yankees and the Mets. If the Yankees win, the Mets, and there's a large contingent of Mets fans, they're not happy that the Yankees won. And if the Mets win, there's a large contingent of Yankee fans that are not happy that the Mets won. Excuse me. If the Yankees win, there's a large contingent of Mets fans that are not happy that the Yankees won. My apologies if I said it wrong. And if the Mets win, there's a large contingent of Yankee fans that are not happy that the Mets won. Okay, you have a large contingent of Jets, Giants fans. You know, but the one team, and New York is a basketball city. Let's just keep it real. It's a basketball town. They love the basketball, and the main team is the Knicks. So when they're good, they captivate the city in a way that no other team really can do. It's just the reality. Um, so congratulations on them. Now, let's talk about this run that they've been on. You got to say, it's a historic run. No matter how it ends, whether they beat OKC or San Antonio, or whether they lose to OKC or San Antonio in the finals, you can't deny the run they've been on. You could talk about, well, in context, no, there is no context, or they went through the JV league or whatever you want to say to disparage the competition. Let me explain something to you folks. These are professional athletes. The NBA is a professional league. And you just don't see teams, no matter how strong or how weak the conference is, you just do not see teams get beat the way the Knicks are beating teams. That just doesn't really happen too often. I mean, the Knicks is closing out series on the road by over 30 points. That's unheard of. Yeah, there might be one or two examples in the history of the game, but that's about it. One or two examples, if that. They're blowing teams out during the series, not just in the series. They're blowing out teams during the series. That's an impressive run, folks. You cannot deny it, no matter what the outcome is. So you have to give them their respect. You got to acknowledge that this is a historic run. Two things can be true. It's a historic run. Now they got to finish it off. That is also true. That makes it even more meaningful if they can finish it off. So that's true. But even if they fail to finish it off, you still can't deny the run they've been on. And you're not going to see too many other teams do what the Knicks just did. I don't care how weak or how strong the conference is. You just don't do this to teams. Because again, these are all professionals. Okay? And I gotta say, I was wrong. I thought the Knicks made a mistake firing Tom Thibodeau. I was wrong. I did not like Julia trading Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns. I was wrong. So I'll admit when I'm wrong. Um, let's start with the Julius Randle Karl Anthony Towns trade. The reason I didn't like the trade was because you sacrificed defense, and I like defense, for offense. And though the Knicks, especially last year, was better offensively, their defense suffered. And that's why they didn't look too competitive against Indiana. Or should I say less competitive against Indiana than they did the year prior when they were more injured. Okay? So you sacrifice defense for offense because, listen, Karl Anthony Towns is a better offensive player than Julius Randle. There's no discussion. But Julius Randle is a far better defender than Karl Anthony Towns. There's no discussion. So I don't like sacrificing defense for offense, but I understood what the Knicks were doing here. Didn't agree with it, but I understood it. Now the Tibbs. Here's why I was against the Tibbs fire. Number one, every team Tibbs is on, they're a good team. They're battle tested, they're tough as nails, they're good. That's why I want my Nets to hire him. I'm just being honest. I want my Nets to hire. But I understood the firing because the one thing Tibbs is known for his defense. But the one thing, if you look at Tibbs' career, I'm talking about as a head coach, he has never had a team that's operating on an offensive efficiency like this Knicks team is. And it's the same team from last year, folks. Even the bench is pretty much the same with the exception of extra two additions, but they haven't really been impactful enough for me to say, oh, they made a big difference. They're contributing, but in a way where it's not like, oh, there's such a big difference as to why this team is so much better this year than they were last year. No, it's the same team from last year. But they got a coach in Mike Brown who found a way that, hey, listen, it's nice for Brunson to get his points, but for this team to be successful, everybody has to be part of this action. And so by putting the ball in Karl Anthony Towns' hand and treating him like he's a point guard, that has actually unlocked the Knicks offense in a way that, first of all, nobody expected them to do it. So you're not really prepared for it. And secondly, it makes the Knicks much more efficient. Think about it. In game 4 against the Cavs, in the closeout game, they had all five of their starters, folks, was in double digit in points. Just let that marinate. Then they had a guy coming off the bench, Larry Shamet, who was on the Knicks roster last year. Why didn't Tibbs utilize him in the postseason? He could have helped you. And so I believe, had they not fired Tibbs, they could have gotten to the finals this year. Because the East is not as strong as it was a year ago, mainly due to injuries. But the Knicks would not have been rolling like they are now. They would not have won no 11 straight. And they would not be beating teams the way they're doing under Tibbs. That just wasn't going to happen because Tibbs teams never do that. Matter of fact, they usually are worn down this time of the year. But Mike Brown found a way to get the best of both worlds. And notice the Knicks defense has actually improved from last year. Their defensive efficiency and their offensive efficiency has improved. So they really get the best of both worlds. So I got to say, the Mike Brown hiring, now you could say it was dumb luck. He wasn't their first choice. Doesn't really matter. But it was still an ingenious move. And I got to give it to James Dolan because James Dolan was the one who wanted Tibbs out. Okay, let's keep it real. That was not Leon Rose or World Wide West's call. That was James Dolan call. and the owner is the owner. And so you gotta give James Dolan credit on this. He had the foresight to know that keeping Tibbs, that there was going to be a ceiling, a limit on what this team can do. And now look at this Knicks team. They're operating in a level that, I mean, they can compete again with any team out west. I'm not saying they're going to beat OKC or San Antonio, but they can compete with them. They can definitely compete with them. Now that brings me to Jalen Brunson, the leader of this team. See, how can I put this? Okay. I'm not going to get into whether he'll be the greatest Nick of all time and all that other stuff. I don't get into none of that. Um, but it's a worthy discussion. But I will say this. He is the greatest Nick since Patrick Ewing. Or since Patrick Ewing was roaming the courts for the Knicks. He's the greatest Nick since Patrick Ewing. Because he's finally led the team to the finals, something Patrick did. But more importantly, here's the thing. And this separates him from Patrick, win or lose in the finals. This is what separates him. Patrick was drafted by the Knicks, which is a little different. Okay? It wasn't like he chose the Knicks. Jalen Brunson chose the Knicks. And that's the vast difference. You know, everybody criticizes the Dallas Mavericks for the Luka trade. But in my opinion, it was not the Luka trade that killed the Dallas Mavericks. Luka was overweight, always injured, and looking for a supermax extension, which he was going to eventually get, of about 300 million. And if he was overweight and always injured, and you give that man 300 million, what do you think you're going to end up getting? An overweight, mostly injured $300 million player. So I understood why Dallas traded him. That the problem is they traded the wrong guy. Or should I say they got rid of the wrong guy because they didn't trade Jalen Brunson. See, Brunson and let me see. Brunson and Luka Doncic came out in the same draft. The same draft. They came out in the same draft. Luka was drafted in the first round, lottery pick. Brunson was drafted in the second. Now, I'm going to say this, and it might sound shocked. Luka is the more talented player, but Brunson is the better player. And there's a big difference. Let me state that again. Luka is the more talented player. So he was worthy of being drafted where he was drafted. But Brunson is the better player. And here's a rule I have. Never get rid of the better player over the more drafted or the better, more talented player. Because here's the thing. Luka's more talented. But again, Luka's out of shape and Luka could never stay healthy. But Jalen Brunson, he's not as talented as Luka. He's not as big as Luka. But he's a throwback. And what I mean by throwback, he reminds me of the era of Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. This guy is a fierce competitor. And he has to be at his height of around 6 feet, 6'1", whatever he's listed at, 6'2", whatever he's listed at. He has to be because he's smallish. Luka nor him are very good defenders, but yet the Knicks found a way to make him at least decent on the defensive side of the ball under Brown. But that's not what makes Brunson Brunson. What makes Brunson Brunson is that Brunson is a top tier scorer, but more importantly, he's always available, unlike Luca. So what good is having the more talented player, but is never hardly available over it's like this. You have two cars. Luca is like a Porsche. I'm going to use cars and Porsche as an example. Now, the Porsche is the more expensive and better car. But if that car is always breaking down and is unreliable, does it really matter how great that car is? While Brunson is more like a Lexus, let's say. Not as expensive as a Porsche, not as good as a Porsche, but it's much more reliable than that Porsche. Which one you think is better? Which one you, if you had to keep one, which one you would be better off keeping? These things matter. To me, the worst thing Dallas did was allow Brunson to enter free agency because you lowballed him. You didn't want to pay him. That was the guy you should have paid. I would have paid him over Luca, despite the fact Luca is more talented. Luca would have brought you back more in the trade. And here's why Brunson is already going to be on the Mount Rushmore of New York when it comes to New York. New York loves winners and they love guys who are committed to being the best. They just do. I'm a New Yorker, so hey, it is what it is. Again, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I appreciate what the Knicks are doing. Got to. And actually, some of my favorite moments watching is what the Knicks did, especially in the 90s. I love that 90s Knicks team, even though I'm not a Knicks fan. But I love the 90 Knicks team. Guys with hard passion, they play tough. That's New York. That's Brunson. He embodies the city. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to state this. If he wins, he'll be more impactful than two guys. He'll never go as one of the greatest of all time, the GOAT. I'm not a believer in that anyway, but he'll never be on that or the Mount Rushmore of basketball. He'll never be on that. But here's what I will say. He'll have more impact than two of the greatest players who have played this game. And he'll have more impact than LeBron James and Kevin Durant. And why do I say that? Because in today's basketball league or in the NBA today, players, they're not competitive. They don't want the smoke. They don't want the challenge. Even LeBron James, as great as he is, and he will go down as an all-time great and all that, he has said basketball is best when New York is good. LeBron had 2 to 3 opportunities to come to New York. If LeBron, imagine had LeBron came to New York and won. He chose New York and would have won in New York. The GOAT debate would have been over. Because a lot of people, New York is the media capital, it's the Mecca, it's the media capital of the world. He would have ended the GOAT debate had he won in New York over Michael Jordan. He would have ended that debate. But instead, he took his talents to Miami to form up with Dwayne Wade, who's already won a chip in Miami. He took the easier path. And then the great Kevin Durant decided, I'm going to one up him. So if I can't beat Golden State when he was up 3 games to 1 against Golden State with this Oklahoma City Thunder, let me go join Golden State, a team that was already a champion, a team that knocked you out when you was up 3 games to 1, and a team that was in the finals. Let me join them. And then you wonder why you wasn't respected. I could have told you wasn't going to be respected because I wouldn't have respected you. I'll use you, but that doesn't mean I'll respect you. There's a difference. So he wasn't happy, and then he made another terrible mistake, even worse than going to Golden State. As crazy as that might sound, he decided to take his talents to the Big Apple. Only problem is he chose the Nets. I'm a Nets fan. But if you are an elite talent, you don't choose the B team in an A city. Even LeBron, whom I'm not a big fan of from a basketball standpoint. I love LeBron, the person, the businessman, the father man. I love LeBron. I ain't got no problem with him on those levels. LeBron, the basketball guy, I can't stand him. I'm just being honest with you. But even LeBron, the basketball guy, was smart enough to know if you're going to go to Los Angeles, you don't go to Los Angeles to play for the Clippers when you are that level. You go to Los Angeles to play for the Lakers. They're the A team in the A city. Because here's why. If you succeed, you get all the glory, you get all the credit. If you fail, you're going to get all the criticism. So why would I go to the B team in the A city? So like if he goes to the Clippers, if they succeed, he gets half the credit. Because again, LA's a Laker town. It's not a Clipper town. It's a Laker town. So he wouldn't have been celebrated had he won with the Clippers. Not like that. I'm sure Clipper fans would celebrate him, but they're minuscule in compared to Laker fans. Just like Nets fans are minuscule in compared to Knicks fans. It's just that's just the way it is. So let's say LeBron took his talents to LA and went to the Clippers. And he wins a chip or two with the Clippers. Okay, nice. But he would not be celebrating in Los Angeles like that because he went to the Clippers. But if he would have failed with the Clippers, he gets 100% of the blame. Oh, you failed with them? You failed? You couldn't get the job done? You couldn't win a chip? And that's why I'm like, KD, what are you doing? Why are you following Kyrie to Brooklyn? If you was going to leave Golden State, a team that was a champion, and you're going to go to the Big Apple, you go to the Knicks. Even I know that, and I'm a Nets fan. You go to the Knicks. Because if you're going to get 100% of the blame, then you got to get 100% of the reward if for winning. This is called a risk to reward ratio here. And to make matters worse, you didn't win in Brooklyn. You didn't win. Oh, and we could talk about the toe and this, and well, he was a foot away from there. It doesn't matter. You didn't win. So no one in New York, even as a Nets fan, think of your tenure fondly. And then you won it out when things got tough. When things didn't go the way you expected, you bolted. This is why I never criticize Carmelo Anthony. I'll never criticize Julius Randle, and I will never criticize Jalen Brunson. Because why? What do all three have in common? They each chose the Knicks. They each wanted to be in New York, and they wanted that smoke. They wanted to be the one to lift the franchise up. They wanted to be that guy. They took on that challenge. when most of your other athletes, stars like LeBron and KD, avoided that challenge, avoided that spotlight. So imagine if Jalen Brunson completes the task and wins the title, let's say this year. But it doesn't matter when, but let's say he does it this year as the lead guy. It'll be far more impactful than LeBron's titles. It'll be far more impactful than definitely KD's titles. At least LeBron's one impactful title he had, because really it's not so much the Miami titles and definitely not the LA title, because that was a bubble championship no one even cares about. Hell, even Anthony Davis said he don't even feel like a champion. And he was on that championship team in 2020 that won the title. Okay? It was a bubble championship. His one title that was really impactful was the Cleveland, because he did it while going back home. But even that, he had to have a stacked roster to do it. KD, and he wants to go somewhere where there's a stacked roster. Nobody wants to build anything. When Jalen Brunson chose to come to New York, the roster was not stacked. And he didn't go out and tell Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and them, I want a stacked roster. Because he could have easily went that route. But he said, no, I want to come here and I can win here. And now he got the Knicks on a verge of possibly winning a championship, 4 games away, or should I say 4 wins away. They may get it, they may not. But at the end of the day, he will be revered in New York in a way no other athlete, especially if he wins. He'll be more revered than Eli Manning. Okay? He'll be more revered than Derek Jeter. And these are legends in New York. He'll be more revered than Mark Messier. He'll be more revered. That's just the reality. Because he chose New York. Now New York is the hippiest place. Now all the athletes want, Giannis wants New York now. Now Giannis wants New York. Oh, now the top athletes wants New York. Man, get out of here. When New York wanted you, you didn't want them. But now you know what this reminds me of? Shout out and God rest his soul to the late Biz Markie. They're catching the vapors. Anybody who's not familiar with that, check out that song, The Vapors, by Biz Markie. When I wanted to be down, you didn't want me. But now that I'm on top and everything is all good, now you want to be down. You caught the vapors. Chicka, 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 chicka. Okay? That's one of my favorite songs. Oh, I'm a big Biz Markie fan. I'm a big Biz Markie fan. That's one of my favorite. I'm not into hip hop and all that other stuff too tough, but that's one person that him, KRS-One, there's a few others, but yeah, I'm a big Biz Markie fan. And now you want to be part of the Knicks. Now there's talk of LeBron possibly coming to. No, if I'm the Knicks, I don't want you now. When I wanted you in 2010, you chose Miami. When I wanted you in 2014, you chose to go back home, which I respect. And then when I wanted you in 2019, 2018, 2019, you chose the Lakers. Now, at the age of 41, 42 years old, you think I want you now? That's like the nice popular girl in high school. You want her, but she doesn't want you. Then you go off to college. You want her, but she doesn't want you. Now in the real world, some 20 years later, now when she's in her 40s, now she's coming looking for you. And you don't want that. No, when I wanted you, you didn't want me. Now that you're near towards the end, now you want to consider me. Thank you, but no thank you. Go your separate ways. Go back home. Because now you found out the Lakers have no love for you. They never did. That's why I was upset with the Lakers because I am the Lakers is my West Coast team in basketball. I was upset that the Lakers brought this guy in. What are you talking about? He's not a Laker. The Lakers did not need him, and especially now that they got Luka, they definitely don't need him. But this isn't about LeBron James. This is about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, if he wins the title, he'll never have to. He probably even now will never have to pay for a meal in New York. But imagine if he wins the title in New York with this Knicks team. What that will do for him, his legacy. He's just 4 wins away from doing so. I want to thank you for watching this segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Have a nice evening. Peace out.